Dan Martell built companies that most people only fantasize about. I think he even sold one for like $25 million. And he wrote a book called Buy Back Your Time that a lot of owners and founders swear by, and I'm one of them. And he says the lessons inside took him over 40 years to figure out. And I'm gonna walk you through 5 of them today. But I'm not gonna just read Dan's highlight reel, because if you listen close, all 5 of these point at the same thing. And it's not your calendar, it's not your team, it's not your funnel. It's you, the founder. So let's get into it. Lesson number 1. You cannot outwork a bad strategy. This is a lie almost every entrepreneur believes. If it's not working, just work harder. More hours, more grind, more hustle. And look, early on, hustle counts. Trust me, it does. When it's just you and an idea, effort is the whole game. Nobody's arguing with that. But hustle has a ceiling, and most people hit it without even realizing it. At a certain point, how hard you work stops being the thing that matters. The strategy you're running matters more. The people around you matter more. The direction you're pointed matters more than the speed you're moving. Dan says it very plainly. Working hard on the wrong thing is just a faster way to fail. Now think about that. You can be the most disciplined person in the room and still lose, because effort in the wrong direction isn't progress, it's just motion. Strategy beats hustle every single time. So before you add more hours, ask a harder question. Am I working hard or am I working right? Because those are not the same thing, and confusing them will cost you years. Lesson number 2. The person who has to change to scale your business is usually you. This one stings a little bit, and it definitely should. When a business stalls, the founder almost always looks outward. A bad hire, a bad market, bad timing, the economy, the team, everybody but the person in the mirror. But here's the honest conversation you have to have. The company didn't stop growing. It outgrew who you are right now. The skills that got you your first big milestone will not get you to the next one. The version of you that built this thing can be the exact version that's capping it. Now think about that. The mindset that got you here can be the same thing that's keeping you here. And nobody wants to hear that, because it's easier to fire a person than to confront a pattern. It's easier to blame the market than to admit you've stopped growing. But the truth is simple. The ceiling on your business is usually the ceiling on you. If you raise one, you raise the other automatically. Lesson number 3, stop optimizing what you should be deleting. Us entrepreneurs, we're addicted to optimization. How do we do this faster? How do we make this more efficient? How do we squeeze 20% more out of this process? And optimizing feels productive. It feels smart. It feels like leadership. But sometimes the smartest move isn't making something better, it's making it gone. That meeting that eats an hour every week and produces nothing. That product or service you keep propping up out of pride. That report that nobody reads. The client who drains more than they pay. You don't need to optimize those things. You need to remove them completely. Because here's what complexity does. It hides. It creeps in at one reasonable decision at a time until your whole operation is heavy and slow and nobody can say exactly why. Simplicity scales and complexity collapses. So stop asking how to do everything faster. Start asking what shouldn't exist at all. Deletion is a growth strategy. Most people just never use it. Lesson 4. Doing $10 an hour work is stealing from your own company. This is maybe the most practical thing that Dan teaches, so pay attention. The framework is simple. If a task can be done by someone earning less than your real hourly rate, you should not be the one doing it. I know that's hard to hear, but it's true. Every hour you spend on $10 work is an hour you didn't spend on the $1,000 work that only you can do. And here's the trap. Most founders get this completely backwards. I was one of them. They hold on to the tasks they enjoy, the stuff that's comfortable, the stuff that feels like busy, useful work. They tell themselves nobody can do it as well as they can. But what you enjoy and what moves the business are not always the same thing. Sometimes the work you're clinging to is the exact work that's keeping your company small. Because while you're doing the $200 task, the $2,000 decisions are sitting there waiting for a leader who's too busy to lead. You are not paid to be busy. You are paid to do the thing that only you can do. So look at your week. Be honest. How much of it could someone else handle? And how much of it are you keeping just because letting go feels like you're losing or letting go of control? That feeling, that's the real cost. Lesson 5. Your identity is your ceiling. And this is the one that ties all the others together. Because you can have the right strategy, the right team, a clean, simple operation, the right work on your plate, and still stall out. Why? Because the hardest thing to scale isn't a business, it's a self-image. Dan talks about this, and it's true across everything. Business, your body, your marriage, your money. You will unconsciously build a life that matches how you see yourself. No bigger or no smaller. If somewhere deep down you see yourself as the guy who works hard and just barely scrapes by, guess what your business is going to do? It's going to work hard and just barely scrape by. Not because you're incapable, because you're loyal to an old picture of who you are. Your bank account, your calendar, your team. They're all just reflections of the identity playing out in real life. So the internal work is not soft. It's not a bonus, it's the foundation. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your identity. And that's the part that no one warned you about when you start a business.